what's up? This is DJ Thunderhead. I'm happy to be here with John, the guitarist and vocals from the awesome band Incantation. What's going on, John?
Hey, just getting ready for tour, and just happy to get do this interview. It's awesome.
Finally, you get to go on tour. That's excellent.
Yes. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it is. When was your last tour?
Well, we did short tour of Mexico, kind of as a warm up, and that was last month. But for the U.S., it's been about 2 years.
Yeah.
And so it's been quite a while. The last tour we did was with Morbid Angel, Watain, and that was in December. It ended. So
yeah,
it's been the longest time since we've not done a show for almost 2 years before the Mexico dates, and that's the longest I've gone not doing a show probably since I was 16 or something like that. Like at least I do a couple of shows each year,
Yeah.
So, but so it was definitely kind of weird, but playing Mexico was a total blast, and just got our we got kind of our mojo back. Being able to play there, just the warm reception we got, and just it was just a great experience. Now we're just really looking forward to taking it out into the U.S.
Yeah. Was it tough going out there after being, not being out there for so long?
Well, it's just there's a lot of stuff to get ready. No matter how much you practice at home and try to warm up for playing live, there's nothing like the adrenaline of playing live. So it's I prepared like crazy to get ready for Mexico, and it worked out good. I probably prepared more for that show, or those shows, than I have for anything quite a while, because usually we're always kind of playing out here and there or something with not that long a break. So
right.
I was just really concerned that I really want to come out of the gate full force, like there hasn't been a 2-year gap, so
exactly.
There was a lot of and then just getting ready for a tour after not working, there's a lot of just stuff you got to organize for doing a tour, and just getting gear ready and stuff for a tour. And when you don't, some of the stuff I haven't used for a couple of years. It's a couple of guitars I don't really play unless I'm on tour, so I had to kind of get those all work in order. Just a lot of little details that
yeah,
people don't necessarily think of. That you have to think of everything before you get ready to go on a tour, so you're not surprised by anything malfunctioning.
That's true, or you're forgetting anything, or by the time you get there, you're probably exhausted.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually for this tour coming up, the Nile tour we're doing. It's like we finally will get to rest once we're actually on tour.
Yeah, exactly.
Before the tour, it's like all of us are running around with our head with our chickens with our head cut off, because there's just so much to do, and we just want to make sure that we're practicing a lot, so we really sound the best we can right out of the gate.
Yeah, and I saw you guys were going with Niall. I was like, oh my God, they're excellent. You guys are going to be great together.
Yeah, and we've been friends with Niall for quite a while, so it's going to be a lot of fun to be able to tour with them.
Yeah. Have you toured with them before, or no?
Yeah, we toured with them a while ago. Pretty much when they first started, we toured with them in the late 90s, and then through the 2000s, we toured with them. But it's been about it's been a while, over 15 years since we toured with them, so it's really nice to be able to tour with them again. It'll be a lot of fun to just catch up. We have a lot of history together, actually, in our in the 90s and early 2000s. It'll be a blast to just hang out and BS, reminisce, and then make some new memories,
Yeah, it would be really cool to get a big tour together from everybody back from the 90s, that you guys all got along back then. That would be really cool.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Really, a lot of the bands that we've toured with, or just, been good friends with, we still have a good relationship with to this day. It's kind of like a a metal bond you have, especially when you tour with a band and stuff. It's like a special relationship you have with them.
Yeah. So for everybody out there, I know we're talking about touring and everything. Could you give them a brief history of Incantation and how it started and,
Sorry. Yeah. Well, it started a long-ass time ago. Started the band in 89. I was playing in another band called Revenant, which was kind of like my first band. I was playing original material. And kind of was the band that I kind of cut my teeth on as far as like learning about what I wanted to do musically and stuff. And there was just a point in that band where I just felt like I needed to go kind of out on my own and kind of follow my own vision. And that's kind of how the Incantation thing started. And it's just one of those things where we just really wanted to do something that was distinctively us. It kind of sounds, I don't know if it's egotistical or whatever, but I had a very distinct vision on what I wanted to do, and it just wasn't really bands out doing that stuff at that time, but I just seen things from a little bit different perspective necessarily than maybe some of the other bands that were out at that time.
Right.
And just, I wanted to, it sounds crazy, but create a band that was kind of in my own image as far as like concept wise and stuff. And that's kind of how the whole band kind of started. And of course, when we work with a lot of really great musicians throughout the years, and they all kind of put their mark on the band, and you'll learn a lot from working with such great people throughout the years.
Yeah.
And it's been a really fun, interesting ride as far as being in the band, because the amount of quality musicians that I've come across, either as like maybe touring members or actual members of the band, and work with different people. There's just like a wealth of information you learn from working with all these people throughout the years. And we're just really fortunate we got a deal with Relapse Records and their infancy too. So they were like a new label, and we were a new band, and they just happened to take off as a label and work out for us. And just our exposure got like probably 100 times more than what it was before we worked with Relapse Records. And I guess the most important thing with the band throughout like its history is that we've just always done things in our own way and just not really let the musical trends of the time interfere with what we're doing, because it's really tempting for bands to want to kind of let current trends help shape their sound. And sometimes for some bands it works out great or whatever, but for me especially, I'm really stubborn, and I like doing things this way, the way we do it with Incan. And it's like, if the trends go our way or they don't go our way, we're still going to truck along and do things the way we want to do things. If you decide we want to play a different style or conform to whatever is trendy at the time, you can always do that in another band. But for me, Incantation has to be pure to what we started off doing, and that's just being a death metal band, being a dark death metal band, and just having just doing things, say, an untraditional way. Even though there's lots of bands now that uses and influences, we still look at it from where we started, and we want to do things this certain way. It's hard, it's difficult to explain, but just we just know that when we do things, and we just want to be proud of it, we want to know that it's not just fly by night trendy kind of thing or whatever. We want to know that it's true to our hearts. Every time we play out live, we want it to be, want people to be able to feel honesty in what we do. Even if they don't appreciate it, if they don't like it, like the kind of music, that's fine, but they can still listen to it and feel that, okay, we're not just going through the motions. Like, this is, our lives and our, true expressions,
Yep, and I get that because I know every time we turn on Incantation, I can always hear, like, the vocals. They're always consistent, whether it be old or new or, and I think that's what you were looking for, and that's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of, let's just say the vocals have always been something that has been pretty over the top, I guess, especially from, early days and stuff. It was people were doing, low vocals and stuff, but we wanted to make sure that low vocals were also, I don't know what the right word is, but like passionate and something, not just a low tone, because we were hearing a lot of bands at that time that were doing low vocals, but they were just hitting low tones, but it seemed like they weren't really pushing that extra charisma or something into the lines. I mean, it's just like having a great singer. You have a great singer that sings all the notes, properly, and whatever kind of music. But then there's other vocalists where they sing, and you feel like you're really, they mean the words they're saying.
Yep. I mean, when I hear your vocals and I speak to you right now, I have one question for you. How the heck do you get that tone, and how do you get that deep?
Yeah, well, it's just, I mean, honestly, it was a lot of practice. It took me about a year of really diligently practicing to try to get the vocals to where I thought they were acceptable to play live, but then, it still took years until I think I got to where I could listen back to them and not feel 100% awkward and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it is strange because, I've always had, kind of mild mannered, higher voice and stuff. So my voice was actually higher when I was younger too than it is now. I think after doing vocals for so long, it actually made my voice a little bit lower than it was in the past. So for me, it's actually kind of cool because it's kind of annoying to be squeaking around.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. If you found, like, in the beginning, if you were squeaking a lot, when you were training your vocal cords?
Well, it was just tough to try to get to the tones that I needed to. It was just, I mean, early on it really sucked. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't good. But I just worked at it and worked at it and worked at it, and I slowly started to like, okay, this is the right tone for this part. It's a lot of work. I mean, one of the things that helped me out was just being able to do lots of live shows, and early on doing live shows, you just have to learn how to regulate your voice properly. You have to do things, you're playing every day, so you learn how not to blow out your voice and stuff. And, for me, vocal wise, it's just, I wanted it to do it the best I could, so I just worked really hard at it and ended up paying off. And honestly, there were lots of times for years I felt, maybe I'm just not good enough to do vocals or whatever. I mean, I felt like that for quite a while. It wasn't, until,
So you had no choice?
Well, yeah, basically I had no choice, yeah, and I just, it was a point of playing live that I was just like, wow, this actually does sound good, I convinced myself at a certain point finally that it was okay. I mean, people were giving me lots of compliments for it, but and I appreciate it, but I didn't believe it myself until a certain point. Once I kind of believed it myself, everything got even better, because once you have that confidence of, okay, I could do this, I know I'm capable of doing this, then you could do it all the better, and you could really add in some, a lot of passion to it, where you're not just concerning yourself with, getting the tones and that kind of stuff.
That's true. And have you been writing the lyrics and the music as well too? Does that help you with your vocals?
I mean, there was a point in the band where I wrote a lot of lyrics, but These days, I don't write a lot of lyrics. I mean, actually, for the last two albums, I didn't write anything, which I was really happy about because, you know, in the last, say, I don't know, 10 years or something, I really felt like I was pushing myself to come up with concepts to write lyrics about, and I didn't have as many ideas as I did in the past, and I felt like maybe I was getting a little redundant on certain things. So our bass player, Chuck Sherwood, he's an amazing songwriter, lyricist, and he started helping me out with writing lyrics to some of the songs, and his lyrics were so good that I was just like, just go ahead and write the lyrics. And because I more than anything in the band, I consider myself a songwriter more than a vocalist or even a guitar player. Really, it's just I like to write songs, so I was able to concentrate more on the music aspect of things, and then work with Chuck and the rest of the band on trying to get cool vocal patterns and stuff, because I also don't like to just go with my own personal opinion on vocal patterns, because there's certain things that are just comfortable for me to do, which is great, but we do like to have other people's other people in band's input, so maybe a pattern or a way of saying something or whatever is different than what I would normally do, because even though I'm kind of like the the visionary of the band from early on, I am representing everybody in the band with the vocals and stuff. I like to have their input, and it comes out better that way than it does if I just do it all myself. I mean, it might be easier for me if I do it all myself, but it's not just about doing what's easy for me. It's doing what's best for everybody in the band. And, Chuck, Kyle, and Luke all have great, ideas on stuff. So it's just like, of course, I put their opinions, as a priority to pay attention to. It's not like any kind of thing where, well, I'm the vocalist, I want to do it my way. I'm just not like that. And I'm not like that with the band either. I mean, the songs all, each album, it's some kind of collaboration between myself and, whoever is in the band at the time, because good music it's not just about me 100% doing everything and writing everything myself, because it is a band. It's not a solo project.
Right.
And I like to have other people's personality be expressed in the music. I mean, they're great at what they do. They deserve to have input. Plus, I like it that way more, because it's really great when I listen to some of the stuff that some of the other guys come up with, and it's just like, damn, that's good. It's just I can almost like their stuff more than mine. Because for me, it's like, okay, I know what's going to happen. I know the idea, and it's cool. But when I hear somebody else's stuff, or music, it's like, oh, it seems fresh. It's
right.
It just has a different, vibe. And yeah, I'm just very fortunate to work with amazing people.
You guys have an excellent band, and I mean, you have even those Incantation riffs. I mean, the riffs are amazing, and you guys must have shared all of that.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's all a collaboration. But it definitely, there's a standard that we need to have in the music. It has to make sense to the overall concept of the band. It's like, as long as the people that like, say the band members are working on songs, and they realize that okay, not everybody gets 100% all the time of everything exactly the way they want it. It has to be in the context of this, because it's more important. The album is more important than any one person, and the coherency of the way the album flows and the way the songs are have to be put into concern over, say, my personal opinion on any one thing. And if the band puts the songs and the album recording as a priority, that's when really everybody shines the most. It's not like, because the more the more individual people get about stuff in the band, the worse it gets, or at least not. It's not even necessarily the worse it gets. Maybe the more it starts to not sound like Incantation. It starts to sound like
something else.
Yeah, something else. And it's like, for me, it's like, if it's going to sound like something else, let's just do this for some other project then,
Put that the wayside. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, people could do, if it sounds totally different, they could do a side band or another band or whatever, and, it might fit perfectly, because it's not always a choice. I mean, it's not always something where it's like it's good or it's bad, but it's more like, does it make sense to the overall project that it's a part of, and that's what's most important. It's not like, okay, this is a good song, but it doesn't really fit. Maybe we use it for something else, or somebody use it for something else. Because who am I to say a song's good or bad? All I can say on my side of it is it fitting this project or not fitting the project?
Right. And you guys are concepts, so you got to keep it that way,
Yeah. For us, I mean, we have like I said, we have a certain way of doing things, and as long as everybody's kind of on that page, it works out great,
Yeah. So generally, how many tracks do you guys normally write before you decide what's going on an album?
Well, I'll say for the last, since, say 4 albums back, so Vanquish and Vengeance, since that time, there's been a really overabundance of songs. Anywhere between 18 and 20 songs. We'd have, because everybody writes in the band, and there's a lot of great stuff, and then we kind of just cherry pick out of those songs which ones, first of all, are properly mature, and then out of those ones we just try to put the puzzle together and see which ones work, and then some of the extra songs that we have, we still keep them aside, and we try to see if we can work on maybe the next album or the album after that. I mean, because sometimes a song will just need more time to be properly thought out or something. Like on our last 4, the Vanquish and Vengeance, Dirges of Elysium, Profane Nexus, and Sect of All Divinity, all those albums had songs that were, Vanquish and Vengeance was being the first out of the 4. Those were all brand new to that time, but the other albums all had songs from the previous album that we didn't use those songs, but the songs usually are like at least 50% different than what they were, because we might have like a good riff or this transition that might not flow properly, but after a couple of years of just kind of having a song hang around, one of us will just check it out again, listen to it, and your brain starts thinking, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. This can work. This, and this part and that part, it all kind of flows together. And a lot of it's just crazy because, say for Sect of All Divinity's album, that album was the last of, say, our leftover riffs that we had from the last 3 albums, and we only had a couple songs in that one that are older songs. Most of them were kind of newer songs written for that album, which Sect was probably the most newest songs that we've had on the album since probably the Vanquish and Vengeance, which was, I think, 2011 or 12, or I can't remember when it was released. But and then for, like, say, our new album, we have every song on it is a brand new song, which is kind of cool in a way. Like, we used a lot of our older ideas, but down for this one came together so quick because with 4 songwriters, you don't write a couple songs and it's done already. Yeah. So we ended up writing a bunch of extra songs that we're going to use for another release on top of it. So we were really kind of ahead of the game again. But the pandemic made it, without being able to tour, of course, we went into songwriting mode. So we're now we're at like a ridiculous overabundance. But we actually tried to capture the moment in time for the next album that we're doing, with just writing. Okay, we're writing for this album. Let's just try to write. I think we have 11 songs for the next one, and something where it's not it's no older stuff. It's all stuff that we just were inspired through the pandemic, and we're pretty happy with it. I think it's going to be cool. We just don't know when the heck it's going to get released.
Yeah, it takes a long time now, doesn't it?
Yeah, everything with the pressing plant's all screwed up with delays and stuff, and we want to tour for a Sect of All Divinity album properly, because that album is actually our best album. It's our best selling album comparison to the times or whatever of any of our releases. So we don't want to give it like a fair touring cycle for it, because we know there's a lot of people that want to hear those songs live. So I want to make sure that we we give it its fair due. I mean, we put a lot of hard work into the album. We don't want to just pass it up because we have a new one. We'd rather just put the other one on hold and wait until this tour is over. Tour, not the Nile tour, but the touring cycle, which is going to be at least a year for the Sect of All Divinity.
Yeah, and that's starting on the 3rd, correct?
Yes, that's starting on the 3rd. And
how many stops are there? There's a lot of stops.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number of shows, but tour is 6 weeks long, which is pretty long for a U.S. tour. Usually they're closer to about a month or something, maybe a little bit over a month. So, but we're really excited about it. And we do have a lot of other stuff in the works for, 22. A lot of it hasn't been announced yet, but we've been working on, maybe, I know European thing is kind of crazy, but we're working on getting over there later in the year. And then, we hope to be able to get out on the road again in the future, hopefully before the end of the year in the U.S.
That would be cool.
Too, because we won't be able to play. We want to play not every song off the new album, but we want to play a bunch of songs off it, and we can't fit it into one tour, because we do like to mix up the set. We don't want to make the set just, all the new album. We want to also play some of the, songs in the past that people might want to hear, or a couple rare tracks from the past too. Want to make it a fun event for newer fans and for older fans.
Well, I've heard you're wild and great on tour and live.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a lot of fun.
What kind of gear do you guys bring with you when you're out on tour?
Well, I mean, for the Nile tour, a lot of the gear that we would normally bring, we don't have to, because they're letting us use a lot of their backline.
Awesome.
But, we, have just over the pandemic, my friend Scott Pramarnik, which actually is going to be filling bass for this tour, he built me a SP custom guitar, so I'm really psyched to take that out on the road. And over the last couple of years, been really fortunate to work with a bunch of different companies to really get the guitar playing at full force or whatever. I've been working with Fishman on pickups for my guitar, and then for a while I've been working with Kahlers. I like using Kahler tremolos a lot, so I'm really psyched about that. We also, have my Revolt amps that I take on tour with me, which sound totally killer. I have this built by Omega, or they changed their name to Omega Ampworks, which is my cabinet company, but this tour, unfortunately, I won't be taking it because we're using Nile's backline. We're just trying to save space, on stage, because we have 4 bands on the bill, and we want to make sure everybody has enough, space on stage to play and stuff. We've been very fortunate. I mean, our drummer, Charlie, who's a touring drummer, he just got a deal with Pasty Cymbals and D Drums, which is totally awesome.
Nice.
And our guitar player Luke is working with Jackson Guitars, which is totally awesome. And
Luke is cool. I've seen interviews with him before. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Luke's a great dude. We're so fortunate as a band, because everybody that we play with now is just amazing. I mean, we just have a good time. Everybody's in good spirits. Everyone really appreciates all the great opportunities that we had as a band, because it is really, you know, there's so many bands out there that try to do stuff, you know, and they're great bands, but they never get some of the opportunities that we get as a band. So, you know, I think it's really important to, every time you play live or get to do an album or even do an interview or whatever, you know, you should be appreciative of the opportunity. And unfortunately, there's people out there that take some of these things for granted and stuff. But, you know, at the moment, the people we're working with is just, you know, everyone's just totally appreciative, and it's just great players and just fun to tour. You know, I mean, it's a group. Touring could be either something that really sucks or is really great, and it all depends upon the people you're around. You know, I mean, it's tough to tour, but it's fun to do at the same time. But if you're around people that are grumpy or just not, you know, made out for touring, it could really be a downer. But all these guys, you know, are just totally into it. You know, they can't wait to get out on the road and play. So, you know, I feel very fortunate to be working with such amazing musicians and just really, really cool people. I mean, I've had a lot of experience working with different musicians, and, you know, the people I work with now are some of the best overall when you look at being cool and also being great musicians. It's, you know, I can't be nothing but fortunate for that.
I have to say, you guys are great, and I know you have some practicing to be doing before the tour. You're going to be doing about 6 hours a day?
Yeah, in the ballpark of 6 hours a day practicing, and, you know, just want to hash out whatever stuff might be, you know, a little rusty or whatever. I mean, we're feeling pretty good, but you just have to get those reps in. There's nothing, I mean, you know, you could play at home. I could play to the CDs and practice and stuff, but it's like having the actual drums and just everybody there playing together. That's how you really know if, you know, things are coming together properly, and just, you just got to need those reps in. There's nothing, you know, there's no real shortcut to doing it. Right. You know, I mean, because you want to have that feeling with the drummer or the guitar players. You want to have the vibe going. It's not just about playing the stuff proficiently, but it's also getting that whole band vibe, which, you know, I've noticed that, you know, a lot of bands, I mean, I'm old school, so a lot of bands these days, I think, I know it sounds old of me to say, but you don't have that jam vibe altogether. You know, I grew up with, you know, 70s hard rock and 80s metal and stuff. So those bands, you get to practice all the time. Even, you know, when I was starting off with Incan and my former band Revenant, we practice our asses off, you know, to get things down good and just get a whole band vibe. You know, I mean, the thing that makes some of the most legendary bands in rock and metal great is because they have that connection of, you know, being in the jam room and just sweating it out. You know, there's nothing like that.
Right, and a lot of people don't even realize how hard it is to be a band.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, most people just think it's all just partying, you know, and groupies and stuff like that, and it's not that at all. You know, I mean, it's like the amount of hard work compared to, you know, the amount of, you know, fun and enjoying parts of it, I guess you'll say, or like the glamorous parts of it, or, you know, it's like that picture where you see the iceberg, where you see the little iceberg on the top, and that's like the cool, you know, the playing shows and all the fun stuff. Yep. And there's like a whole ridiculous amount of work put into it. It's like, I mean, I know it's kind of a weird comparison, but it's almost like being an athlete or something, being able to be in a band, because you have to put in the work, you know, or else it's just not going to be good.
And have a team.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be able to work together as a team. That's, you know, that's really one of the hardest parts of being in a band, is having a team where everybody's all on the same page, because there's, you know, everybody has their own life, and it's like, it's like having a marriage with four other people.
Yep.
In a sense, and it's hard enough to keep a marriage together with two people. Just think about doing it with four people.
And some bands, it's even more. It's got to be real hard.
Yeah, I don't know how. When bands have like over 5 members, 6 members, I don't know how the heck they do it.
It's probably chaos.
Yeah, because honestly, it's tough. It's tough with 4 people usually. It's not bad now because we have an amazing, found the right people that we're working with. But in the past, holy crap, working more than 2 people is tough.
What is it, like the different personalities, you think? Like conflicts?
Yeah, well, there's so many different things. There's personalities is one thing. Some people just aren't made out to tours. Other people, they want to do it, but once they start doing it, they realize that they don't want to put in the work to do it. Other people just have different opinions on, music and stuff.
Yeah, they hear things differently.
Yeah, they hear things differently, or sometimes they come into it, liking what the band's doing, and then they might grow as people in a different way than the rest of the band grows as people, and it doesn't work out and stuff. I mean, there's so many variables. It's ridiculous, that can come into play.
Right.
It's really, in a lot of ways, it's really sad because I've worked with other great people in the past, and it's just a shame that we couldn't find ways to hold it together or something. But at the same point, it's like I'm at an amazing point in the band now. We're working with amazing people, so even though some stuff you wish that maybe didn't go down the way they did in the past, I still wouldn't change anything because I love where I'm at now in life. Yep. So it's like
you're evolving.
Yeah, and you learn from things. I mean, like anybody, when you start doing something in the beginning, you're kind of ignorant to it, and you learn stuff as you go on. And,
right.
Especially when you're young. I mean, just think about musicians. A lot of them, are getting super popular. They're pretty young. A lot of them are barely in their 20s. And, it's normal for people in their early 20s to be immature and egotistical because, everything came easy to them in a sense. It's not until things start to not go your way in a band, that's when you really find out, who the lifers are in the music, and who are the ones that just jump ship when, say the trend changes or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's with anybody in human life. They gotta live and learn and carry on and move on.
Yeah, I guess it's all the stuff that, people have to deal with in life, but in a band, it's like the same thing, except, it's like you all depend on each other, but at the same time, people change, they grow out of stuff.
Yep.
It's just the way life is,
It's just crazy.
Either deal with it or you crumble,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, where can everybody find out about the tour dates and buy your merchandise and go and see you live, and where can we find you?
Well, we have Incantation.com where we have, our tour dates listed, and, we have a badass merch store that you can check out over there. And, all I can say is feel free to buy something from our merch store because, man, 2 years in the pandemic, my credit cards are pretty maxed out.
Yep,
So
I can imagine.
Anything somebody buys is greatly appreciated.
Yep.
As far as, then we have Facebook, we have, all the normal things, Facebook, Instagram. We also have a super cool Incantation fan page that, like stated, it's a fan page. So there's some diehard fans that have this cool group, and it really is a great way for people to, just talk about the band. And
they do a lot in there. I'm in that group, and, I've been following it. And I also want to let everyone know they can subscribe to you, too, as well as a band, and get discounts and things like that.
Yeah, totally. Just, all I guess all the normal stuff that all the normal outlets. But yeah, I have to give lots of credit though for that fan page, because the people that are doing it, or that came up with the concept of doing it, I guess not really coming up with the concept, but just making the effort to do it, were just so super cool, such diehard fans. And the thing that is really, really great about them is that they can really look at things at just the music level, and it's like there's stuff from past members that have been in the band and stuff that we talk about in that chat room. It's not just about what we're doing now, even though for me that's important, but it's also great that other people that we work with in the band could also use that as an outlet. So it's not just like sometimes if you might check the Incam page, you might just see stuff relating to us, but it's nice to see some of our fellow say some of our side bands or some of our other bands get talked about in the other room, which is cool.
That's awesome. All right, can you do a shout out for us for the radio station?
Yeah. This is John McEntee from Incantation. You're tuned into the Thunderhead show at MetalDevastationRadio.com, where metal reigns supreme.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and we will be talking with John again soon, maybe after tour or when the new music or the new album comes out. And thank you, John, very much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Totally appreciate it. And just keep being metal. Check us out on tour.
All right. Talk to you soon.